Howdy. It has been a little while since I've done one of these, yet again. This is actually going to be a re recording because since I haven't done one of these in quite a while, my audio settings were not good. In case you were one of the two people who happened to have actually listened to the original video, I have a HyperX quadcast now, upgrade from the HyperX solo cast, and I had it in the wrong setting for like a two-person podcast. As such, it was recording me and my voice echoing off my computer. It wasn't great. So we're going to run through this again. This is my homemade document for the Pathfinder Legacy of Fire Adventure Path for Pathfinder First Edition. Technically, Legacy of Fire was a adventure path for D&D 3.5. It was actually the last of the 3.5 adventure path supplements, which never got all the love that Rise of the Ruin Lords or Curse of the Crimson Throne did. So it never got its full remaster into the Pathfinder First Edition. So there actually is a document out there which is called the Legacy of Fire Player's Guide, and it's the same cover I use for my photo up here. It's actually a Pathfinder companion, so it's a 36-page or 36-page document which details a lot of things in the area of Katapesh, and there are sprinklings in the document which are relevant to players of the adventure path, such as campaign traits, relevant races, and classes. But since it was written for 3.5, certain things really didn't come over well. And for the GMs, if you're running this adventure path, read through it first. I beg you. It is truly worth doing. The adventure path itself, probably an 8 out of 10. Really good adventure path. But you'll run into things that call for spot checks or thievery checks. Things that aren't used in Pathfinder First Edition because it wasn't written for Pathfinder First Edition. So please go to the Pathfinder community boards, the message boards. There are tons of resources on there for conversions. There are different tips for GMs and different outlooks on the adventure path itself and what it's about. And so it's really, really useful. But I decided to make this document, which I have not found anything of its sort for the adventure path, which is actually sitting down and compiling a standalone adventure path player's guide for the Legacy of Fire adventure path. And so let's just jump into it. This guide provides an overview of the Legacy of Fire adventure path, offering players insight into the campaign's themes, structure, and character creation options. The adventure is a 6-part campaign that takes heroes from first level to the mid to high teens. It begins in the desert nation of Katapesh and features an Arabian Nights theme, which, by the way, is super cool. Lots of genies. With encounters against gnolls and genies, as well as journeys to different planes of existence. For the adventure overview, the campaign starts in the ruined village of Kelmarane. Now, do not butcher me. I say Kelmarane. It's how I read it. It could be Kelmarane, but I think Kelmarane sounds very Arabian Nighty. So if it's incorrect pronunciation, I do apologize. I'm going to say it about 85 times, just so be prepared for that. The campaign starts in the ruined village of Kelmarane, which has been taken over by a Gnoll tribe led by a warlord known as the Carrion King. The initial part of the adventure, Howl of the Carrion King, focuses on the heroes reclaiming this village. This includes exploring, dungeon crawling, and combat against gnolls and other bestial enemies. After the village is reclaimed, a significant portion of the campaign involves rebuilding and managing the settlement, including defending it from various threats. The adventure's balance between urban and wilderness encounters shifts throughout the campaign. That is to say, the initial phase is predominantly a wilderness campaign, taking place in and around the ruined village. However, later parts of the adventure take players to the bustling city of Katapesh, a major economic power, and the campaign culminates in travel to exotic planar locations. No spoilers. So the point here is, if you're jumping into the early books, it might be smart to have a character, and we'll talk about this during character classes and archetypes, that is useful in the wilderness setting. But essentially, after book one and a half, if you have a character die and you make a new character, you would be much more okay creating a character more comfortable in urban settings. If you want your character to be religious, outside of just being a cleric or a paladin or an oracle, these are some of the religions in the area that have a strong presence, specifically in Katapesh. Abadar, of course, for a major trade hub, is the most persuasive religion in the East. Abadar's faith is supported by merchants and ensures trade continues smoothly and fairly. Sarenrae, found wherever the sun shines. Sarenrae has a large following, especially in the West. Her faithfuls are often at odds with the city's rulers, and she's seen as a force against slavery, for which there is a lot, thanks to this next one, Lamashtu, the mother of monsters. She's revered by the Knoll tribes of the region, and her cults are a known menace who heavily involve themselves in the slave trade. Iamade, where there is injustice, Iamade soon follows. Iamade's followers tend to the more rugged western frontiers, bringing peace to those living outside the cities. Nethys, worshipped by mystics and scholars, Nethys is the god of magic. His followers seek ancient lore and the secrets of the plains. Not many places you won't find Nethys. And then the worship of Gazre, of course, is a little more pertinent in these regions, because as the god of nature and weather, he's honored by sailors and farmers and frontiersmen who live by his whims, and there is plenty of frontier in these desert plains. For character classes and archetypes, we diverged a little from the original player's guide section here, because I did want to update some parts of this for the thematic parts of things to include, just for example, some hybrid classes. I could have included maybe some of the I forget what they're called, signature classes, oracles and witches and that type of thing. I will preface this by saying, if you are good at building characters, you are not going to have a hard time finding something that fits in it. It does not have to be these things. These are simply options that reflects the campaign's blend of desert survival, urban intrigue, and planar exploration, meaning they're just very thematic. So if you want something that's going to be good for an RP sets, this is great. If you want to build an ironbound samurai fighter and have 8,000 feats, you're going to be okay. You just won't fit in as well, but as a major trading hub, there's no reason your character couldn't be there. That said, barbarians fit the region quite nicely. Nomadic tribes of Katapesh and the knolls of the Brazen Peaks provides a perfect thematic fit for a barbarian in basically any of its archetypes. Bard. Katapesh has a long tradition of skilled entertainers and storytellers, and is a perfect setting for dervish dancers, archaeologists, or daredevil bards. Each would be an excellent choice for navigating the city's markets and back alleys. For clerics of Abadar or Sarenrae are common sights in Katapesh. A crusader or a merciful healer cleric would fit well with the themes of fighting gnolls and aiding the helpless. For the Druid, despite its arid appearance, the desert nation of Katapesh has a unique ecology. A desert, especially a water druid or a desert druid, would be highly valued for their ability to sustain life in the unforgiving environment. Fighters. Where can you not find fighters? Whether as a city guard, a mercenary, or hunters, a fighter will find plenty of work in Katapesh. A Titan Mauler or a gladiator would be particularly effective against the larger beasts and creatures found in the desert. Monk. The philosophies of distant lands like Jelmaray or Vudra are present in Katapesh, the trading hub. A monk specializing in the flowing arts or maneuvers would fit right in. So you're thinking of a flowing monk or maybe even a sensei would be quite interesting, but master of many styles, fantastic. Paladins. Paladins are heroes in Katapesh, particularly those of Iomade, who turned back the Null Siege of Solku. An Imperial Knight or a Holy Gun could be a unique and effective choice. Rangers are in high demand. Their ability to track beasts and humanoids in the wilderness make them for a quick hire. A ranger with a favored enemy of humanoid Knoll would be invaluable, especially during the early parts of this adventure path. Rogue. Rogues can thrive in Katapesh's bustling cities, acting as guides, smugglers, or thieves, of course. A survivalist rogue is also well suited for the desert environment. Doesn't every party need one? And along that same line, vigilantes, great thematic fit for the area. There's no reason in the world you could not do that. They just hadn't come out at the time of this adventure path was published. Sorcerers. Many sorcerers in Katapesh claim to have genie blood, which is often true, and therefore any of the genie blooded sorcerers, Ifrit or Undyne, would be fantastic. A sorcerer with a draconic or elemental bloodline would also be a good fit. Wizards. A wizard's knowledge is highly valued in Katapesh. A genie binder or a wizard specializing in divination or conjuration would be not only effective, but thematic as all get out, especially in the later parts as the planar themes emerge in this campaign. I made some mentions of some hybrid classes, just, of course, fighters and monks both fit right in, so you can expect a brawler would be welcome in the city's fighting pits and could serve as a formidable hand-to-hand combatant. Crazy. Hunter. A hunter being a hybrid of a druid and a ranger, one of my favorite classes, because you get 2/3 spellcasting and, most of the ranger stuff, an animal companion. It's a really cool little class. It's a perfect fit for the campaign's emphasis on wilderness survival and combat. Shaman. A shaman, which is a hybrid of an oracle and a witch, both of which could easily fit in this adventure path, could be a member of one of the nomadic tribes communing with local spirits to help the party. And maybe in your own small nomadic tribe as some type of faith leader. Swashbuckler. A swashbuckler, which is a combination of a fighter and a rogue, as its parent classes, would of course fit right in as a roguish adventurer seeking fortune in the great bazaars, or a duelist defending caravans from bandits, with of course some stylish flair. And again, any class would fit just fine. This alchemist would do just fine. But you would be hard-pressed to find a class that just could do nothing. For races, you're coming to this region. What would make sense thematically to be race-wise? This is not necessarily min-max-wise, but I can guarantee you if you're min-maxing often enough, you're human. So, you will be happy to know that humans are the most common race. Katapesh is a melting pot, and characters of any race can find home there, But Gurundi or Kelishites, being the most common ethnicity, prove that humans are always welcome. A human with a genie-blooded or world traveler trait would especially fit. Halflings. They are numerous and delight in the marketplaces. Their vulnerability to slavery makes the freed slave or freedom fighter traits particularly poignant. Dwarves. Dwarves are known for being hard bargainers, miners in the mountains. Hard bargainers and miners in the mountains. A dwarf from Zalarket. Yeah, I said that in the dwarven accent. Zalarket mines would have a solid backstory. Gnomes, often mistaken for halflings. Gnomes are drawn to the wilderness of Catapesh's, or the weirdness of Catapesh's wilderness markets. An animal friend gnome could have a unique perspective on desert creatures. Half-elves. Half-elves fit in easily in this diverse city. A half-elf with Akuje reflexes could be a traveler from the Mongi Expanse. See what the 10 warriors are doing down there through some rumors, perhaps. Half-orc. Half-orcs, rare but present. Half-orcs often seek to escape prejudice. A half-orc with the legacy of sand trait could have an ancestral tie to a now extinct tribe. The Sully. A native of the elemental planes, a Sully would be a particularly perfect fit for a campaign centered around genies and the planes. Additionally, any of the half-genie races would be thematically appropriate, again, like the Ifrit or the Undine. Now let's talk about the campaign traits. These are the bread and butter, the reason you're here. What do I take to entwine my character with the campaign and have a built-in reason to begin the adventure? Trait 1, earning your freedom. You are a slave who has been promised freedom for helping to retake Kalmarane. Your life as a slave has toughened you, granting you a +1 trait bonus on a chosen save and throw. Finding Helene. You are searching for a woman named Helene, who mysteriously vanished after a lead placed her in Kalmarane. Your starting class is always a favorite class, granting you +1 hit points and +1 additional skill points each level. Probably a little weaker at level 1 than some of these other traits, but toward the end, it's pretty impressive. Gnoll Killer. Your family was attacked by gnolls, and your hate has grown ever since. You gain a +1 trait bonus on attack and damage rolls against gnolls. Put that on your ranger with the favored enemy, humanoid gnoll, and you will be gunning them down. Missionary. You are a dedicated member of your faith, sent to help establish a new temple in Kalmarane. You've been selected for your dedication and social graces, granting you a +1 trait bonus on a chosen social skill, which is always a class skill for you. Think diplomacy, intimidate, or bluff. Reclaiming your roots. You were born in Kalmarane and want to uncover the truth about what happened to your parents there. You begin with a valued item that belonged to a deceased parent. Now, speak with your GM about what that is. I doubt you're going to get a ring of 3 wishes past them, but you might get something pretty cool, depending on how you want to build your backstory. My parents were smiths, ring smiths. They only ever made rings of 3 wishes. Hundreds of them, thousands even, but they gave me one. Seeking adventure. You are a new member of the Pathfinder Society, and your first assignment is to accompany Garavel's group to Kalmarane to investigate ancient structures. You begin with a wayfinder, a magical compass. So some built-in reasons to have your character in the region interested in the campaign. And there's Sometimes, if none of these seem to fit your character, you can talk to your GM, of course, and they may be willing to let you take a regional trait from Katapesh instead, if it makes more sense. But there's some pretty good ones here. And then we want to talk quickly about a system that was actually released specifically for the Legacy of Fire adventure path and has been carried forward occasionally since then. This is the conception of achievement feats. Achievement feats are special feats that can't be taken at character creation, but are earned by meeting specific in-game goals. These feats are designed to reward players for certain actions, and to feel like they've accomplished something pertinent to the campaign and the campaign's goals. The first of these is very thematic. All gnolls must die. And John Tucker. You must deliver the killing blow to 20 gnolls, hyenas, dire hyenas, were hyenas, jackal wares, or minions of Lamashtu. In return, you get a morale bonus on all will saves, as long as you carry a gnoll trophy, and a competency bonus on attack and damage rolls against those same creatures. It doesn't mention it here. It must have not copied over correctly. I think that's a +2 on the will saves, and maybe a +1 on the other side. It might be a +2, but you can look that up on the Pathfinder PFSRD, and it should be there. Flame-tested survivor. Poor you. You must be knocked unconscious or killed by fire damage at least 10 times. Talk about death prone. But this feat grants you fire resistance 5 and a +2 bonus on all saving throw against fire effects. Not again. You'd say the 11th time's the charm. Gifted Mesmerist. You must successfully affect 25 different targets with your charm or compulsion spells. As a reward, you can use one charm or compulsion spell you know once per day as a spell-like ability. Which, hey, free spell. And that's actually not that hard to do. Grave Risen. Talk about the fire guy. You must die and be brought back to life at least twice. But in doing so, you gain a single-use supernatural ability to save yourself from death, which is pretty cool. Healer's Touch. You must cure a cumulative total of 1,000 points of damage for other creatures using healing spells. Easy enough, but here's your curveball. Dealing damage to other creatures slows your progress toward the goal. The benefit is that when you cast a healing spell to heal someone other than yourself, the spell is maximized. So the difficult thing here is you have to use healing spells, so your channel ability doesn't work. So it's all cure and heal spells and the like, and maybe later in the campaign that's not hard to do. But it is tedious, this one and the next one, because you have to keep track of how much you've healed versus how much you've done, and you have to be 1,000 points ahead on healing versus damage dealt, which is a little difficult to... It's a good reward, it's just difficult to actually do. History of Scars. Here's for all you tanks out there. You must take a cumulative total of 1,000 points of damage. Unfortunately, magical healing reduces this total. The feat grants you a +2 natural armor bonus, but also imposes a penalty on all charisma-based skill checks. It's just quite difficult to do, because you're going to be magically healed a lot if you plan on being alive. So this could take quite a while to get if you want to aim for it. But all you Ironbound Samurais out there with your unconquerable resolve can probably get this up pretty quickly. Relentless Butcher. You must confirm at least 50 critical hits. When you confirm a critical hit, your opponent must make a fortitude save or be stunned for 1 round, which is fantastic. And then lastly, we created just a little local gazetter for Kamarane. Characters who grew up in Katapesh, or the Katapesh countryside. You would know the ruined village of Kamarane is a place of local legend and tragedy. You would know of it as a quiet village on a trade route between Katapesh and Osirian, which has lain abandoned for years. Now, it's infested with a tribe of gnolls who serve a mysterious warlord known as the Carrion King. Of course, the Packmasters of Katapesh see it as a great opportunity, believing that if it can be reclaimed and rebuilt, the trade resulting from it would strengthen the nation's western and northern reaches. You may also have heard whispers among the people that the village was founded near an old monastery dedicated to Sarenrae. A temple dedicated to her once stood in Kalmarani itself, but has long since fallen to ruin. So all you clerics of Sarenrae, you have a good reason to get in the village. Hopefully this was helpful. Sorry if I mispronounced some things and stumbled here and there, but this should give you the rundown of everything you need to start the adventure path, and you didn't have to read the document yourself. So hopefully you enjoyed your drive or your coffee or whatever else you were doing. Yeah, have a great day and get lost.